some on Star Wars. Just from The Force Awakens, they made their money back almost.
Yeah.
Not just with the movie, but with like
the merch.
Toys, the fucking theme parks, although that's a crapshoot right now. But
I want to go to that theme park so
I
bad.
was supposed to go this fucking summer. Like, I was supposed to go in June, damn it. And obviously that's not going to happen for quite a while now.
Wearing a Star Wars shirt right now.
I see that. I saw the Millennium Falcon earlier. What is this other ship? I see an X-Wing, but what's this other ship over here?
That's an A-Wing, I think.
Yes. I see that now. But yeah, I read that, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Why would she be out? All of her Star Wars movies except Solo made a fuck ton of money.
And I've even come around on Solo. I've come around on all of them, though.
I'd say Solo's probably one of my lesser liked of the movies, but I still like it. I think it's
like
got a great
Solo better
80s
than
vibe.
Attack of the Clones. I agreed, absolutely. It definitely feels that way. And it's also nice to see, like, Han not as, like, I don't know, it actually, like, it makes the older Han character even better because, like, he has always been, like, really cocky, but not always able to back it up, right? Even in Force Awakens, when he's, like, talking to the two people, like, the two groups of people who are after him, he doesn't have everything under control here.
No,
like, the only reason he did was because Rey and Finn helped him, and even that was, like, a shit show, but...
Right.
But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I also heard she was going to leave for J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot production company. So, but I think it's because and I don't know how much Disney puts into this stock into this. Like, there's a minority of the fan base who is like everything that the new trilogy or all the stuff since Lucasfilm got bought has been dog shit.
Right.
And there are people who think all of it has been bad. Like Force Awakens was bad, The Last Jedi was bad, Rogue One was bad, Solo was bad, all of this was bad. I mean, I think the only redeeming thing has been The Mandalorian, and I think that most Star Wars fans are like, yeah, that was pretty good.
Grudgingly.
Right, exactly. They're like, well, I hated all 5 of the movies that came out, but I really like this. But I've said before, I think Star Wars works better as a TV show. Clone Wars has absolutely solidified that for me because there's so much to explore that doing it in a 2-hour movie, I don't know that you do the universe that kind of justice when there's so much to do. Well,
I mean, yeah. I guess it depends on the kind of stories you're telling, but like most of the Clone Wars is broken up into 2-3 episode arcs, sometimes even more, like 5 or 6. So it's like if you watch them in a bunch, you're basically getting chapters of a film.
Yeah, that's true. And I do think...
Oh, go ahead.
I think the movies work as, like you said, chapters of a longer story. Like, I don't really necessarily view the original trilogy is one thing and the prequel trilogy is one thing anymore. It's all together. It is just Star Wars, in my opinion. Because, yes, can you watch A New Hope by itself? Absolutely. Can you watch an episode of the Clone Wars by itself? Sure. But if you put them all together, you have such a rich
mosaic.
Right, of all kinds of stuff, like weird stuff, like cool stuff, like some shitty stuff. Let's be honest, the fucking Boba Fett going in the Sarlacc pit was pretty shitty. It's kind of a crappy way to die.
You take your wins, you take your losses.
The entire Rise of Skywalker, apparently.
I mean,
I also heard that George Lucas had did a cut of Rise of Skywalker, like that he cut it like a certain way, and Disney was like, "Why didn't we fucking release this? It's so much better." But I imagine J.J. Abrams would have been like, no.
I don't know if he would have. Back when the movie first came out, some of the gossip that I read was that Bob Iger, who was the head of creative at Disney, I think, but I don't think he is anymore, or he's on his way out, had forced J.J. Abrams to reshoot a huge chunk of the movie to make it more callbacky to the original trilogy, like that what we were supposed to get was different, which is why the movie has that sort of patched together feel. I don't know how true any of it is. I look forward to the tell-all book that's going to be out in 20 years.
Yeah.
Where they
Kathleen
finally...
Kennedy's.
Yeah, exactly. I also want to read the book about the Marvel Studios story. I want to know all the dirt about what happened on those sets.
I've heard Bob Iger and Kevin Feige, they couldn't get along, and basically Disney was like,
He's the one making us billions. Yeah.
right, yeah, like, they were like, Bob, you gots to go. They were like, Bob, fuck off.
You know what? He's like, I think I'm out at Disney. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I did actually read that was pretty close to what happened. Is that they were just basically like, this is the cash cow right now, and he's making us. Not only is he making us a shit ton of money, but people love these movies. Like,
yeah,
I know that yes, there have been some criticisms about them kind of feeling very formulatic now, but they still make a shit ton of money. And for my money, like when I watch a Marvel movie, if I've been entertained for 2 hours, it's pretty good. Even like Captain Marvel, which I originally saw in theaters, and I was like, man, I don't know about that. I've since rewatched it and been like, you know what, it's fun. Like it works. It is kind of an origin story, and like you're gonna get to know like kind of an origin story. It's not even a full origin story, but
well, it's also a period piece. Yeah, it's kind of it's more like a 90s movie, I think, and I think some of that's by design. So it feels almost, for most of the running time, a lot smaller than a lot of the more recent Marvel movies have.
It didn't feel near as epic as something like Endgame or Infinity War, or even like Winter Soldier. Like I watched that fairly recently. Like I totally forgot about the scene where Nick Fury's driving his car, and then like the cops pull up, and then other cops pull up, and it's just like cops everywhere just fucking firing at him, and like I was like, damn, this is fucking epic and intense. Like, or even Avengers, the elevator fight, where he's like, you know, kind of like eyeballing him, and like, okay, these guys are sweating, this guy's tensed up.
And then the line about, does anybody want to get off before we get started?
Right.
It's the other way around, but yeah.
I think watching that again made me go, you know what? I love Chris Evans. Like, I think that he is, for me, I love Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. I think you need both Tony Stark and Steve Rogers to really balance each other out.
The Avengers work, yeah.
But I do think that Chris Evans being Captain America was one of the better casting choices. I mean, I think the same of Chris Hemsworth as Thor. At first, I was like, I guess. And by the time, like, I guess Age of Ultron came, actually, no, it was probably like Ragnarok, where I was like, you know what, I am fucking sold on this guy being fucking Thor. Because he's good.
That one's really good. Yeah, I mean, his comic timing is incredible.
And I think that is what has really like made me. He reinvented Thor, kind of like, because you know the first couple of movies, he's very like stoic and like, you know, he's let's talk about fighting and like that's what we're doing. But by the end of Ragnarok, he's like, you know, what is he gives that face to Mark Ruffalo? He's like really, yeah, like, you know, like yeah. And you're right, his comedic timing worked really well in those movies.
He's also really good in the Ghostbusters remake.
Oh, he is like a sleeper. Like
he walks away with the whole movie.
Like he's a sleeper, like just so good because he's so bad at his job and like
but so confident.
Yeah, I think that, and also, I mean, just talking about the Chris's, Chris Evans was really great in Knives Out too. Completely different character than Steve Rogers, right? Like totally different character than Steve Rogers. But he plays both of those characters so well. Like he plays the do-gooder super great, right? But he also plays that shitbag guy so good too. Like in Scott Pilgrim, in Knives Out, you know.
He's the skateboarder in Scott Pilgrim. Yeah.
Who just did
talk to me.
Yeah, he was good. He was really good. One of the better parts of that movie, honestly. And I love that movie.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I think Chris Evans, what I think is interesting about Captain America is I feel like I can remember people sort of making fun when the first one came out, and even up through the first Avengers, like, why do they need him? Like, they've got a Hulk and Iron Man and Thor. Like, why do you need Captain America? And then I feel like by the time you get to the end of Endgame, everybody's like, no, he's leaving, you know. because he inhabited that character so fully, and like it I mean, to me it's on par with like Christopher Reeve as Superman, as far as like inhabiting that character and bringing him to life, like a larger than life personality that's noble. You know, I mean, I think it's easier to do some of the other Marvel heroes because those are kind of riffs on Han Solo, right? Like Tony Stark, you know, or Star-Lord or whatever. But then when you've got, you know, Steve, who basically, you know, Chris Evans had to play it straight. You know, he's not usually the one telling the jokes. He's the butt of the jokes. And he does it so well, and like with such, I don't know, he brings so much pathos to it. It's like I think he gets the biggest moment in Endgame, doesn't he? Whenever he gets the hammer.
He comes. I mean, the theater I was in when I saw that opening night, fucking lost. I lost it. I was like freaking screaming, man. Like I knew what was about to happen because I saw the hammer move, right? Like I think you see the hammer move before, and I was like, oh my, like I'm like sitting next to my wife and I'm like, oh my God, because I knew what was about to happen, right? And then it happened and we all like lost our fucking minds. But also Captain America is the moral driving force of the Avengers. Like, say what you will about Tony Stark, you know, yes, you need someone like him to, you know, gadgets and you need someone like him to crack the jokes and all that. But like, even in like Civil War, where it's like Tony versus Steve, like Steve is still, in my opinion, right. Like Tony's the one that is in the wrong, and I know that in the comic books there was a lot more moral and like ambiguity there, right? Like it wasn't as clear cut, I think, as it was in the movie. Like in the movie, like it was really like you're either with like Tony or you're with Steve. But I think in the comics it took time to get to that point, right? Steve was originally like all like from jump, like no. But like, you know, over time, other heroes, you know, joined him as well. But in the movie, it definitely was like him being like, no, this is wrong. Like
what Tony's essentially advocating for with the Sokovia Accords is better monitoring of law enforcement, right? Like, so I don't know that he's necessarily wrong. I guess because they would be working for the government instead of independent do-gooders, which means that they could be used as like a murder squad. Yeah. They could be ordered in to just like kill people that the government wants dead who haven't actually done anything wrong or don't threaten the earth.
I'm pretty sure that Steve Rogers says this. He's like, what if there's something out there that we know we can do and they won't let us? And like from someone who has that sort of power to do something, and I think Steve Rogers especially, he has a moral obligation as a character to do that. Like he's like, I cannot rest if I know that I could have stopped that and they wouldn't let me. Well, I mean, which is why he like fucking leaves and he's like, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like I don't need you to fucking tell me that I can do it. I'm gonna fucking do it. Yeah, my costume's gonna get all fucked up. Yeah, I'm gonna be like staying at Motel 6.
But you know what? Bargain bin Captain America is still Captain America.
I mean, he was. Like, think about it when he showed up in an Infinity War. You know, like he grabs that fucking like trident, that thing that lady has, and
Proxima Midnight, yeah.
And he's like, although I would say that those characters CGI was kind of shitty too. Like I didn't really like those characters like CGI too much.
I don't remember minding it very much, but I mean, yeah, it wasn't the best CGI job ever. I don't know. I thought the one with the long fingers looked okay.
I agree. I agree. I also thought what was the guy who had like the crazy? He was trying to get Doctor Strange.
Dormammu? No.
He was trying to get Doctor Strange because he had the Time Stone in Infinity War.
Oh,
I don't know what that guy's. No. I don't remember what the dude's name. He controls. No, he's the bad guy. He's one of Thanos' dudes. He's like the main guy that they kill. That they shoot him out in space. They shoot him out. Yes. I really like that, and I thought he looked good. But I think
that's who I was talking about. Yeah.
I think that the big guy who they chop his arm off like at some point, and then the lady didn't look all that great, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The movie's made now, so.
Yeah. Also, us Monday morning quarterbacking it.
Hey,
It's not
Disney,
like-
could you do better?